Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Daryl Walter Show. I am your host, Daryl Walter. First of all, don't you love that intro? Shout out to Pyro Media Network and Kwame, one of the best producers around. I just absolutely adore and love. Come on in, y'all. Come on in. Welcome, everybody, to the Daryl Walter Show. How y'all doing out there? Hey, Sister Michelle, listen, I'm going to watch that Edgar Allan Poe situation. I'm going to watch that because I need to lay down and rest my body. So I'm going to watch that, okay? Good afternoon, Queen. What's going on, my beautiful sister? Listen, we have, I feel like, a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about things that I want to talk about. And today on the show, we are going to talk about boundaries, right? Creating them, setting them, and renewing them. Because I have gone through a lot of changes recently, and I realized I want to share them with you all in hopes that it will help you all. Also, I realize that a lot of y'all out there been doing your boundaries wrong. Okay, that I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how to put it out there, but y'all been setting boundaries and you keep wondering why they broken. You keep wondering why people cross your boundaries. You keep wondering why people disrespect your no. I hope this talk helps you today, okay? But before we get into that, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feeling out there? Y'all all right? Yes, I will. Falls of the House of Usher. You will get your whole lot. Listen, if you are an Edgar Allan Poe fan out there, you know, Michelle recommended this show to watch. I'm going to watch it with Edgar Allan Poe. So y'all check that out. Listen, again, how y'all doing out there? I know it's a crazy time out there. If hell is breaking loose around you, if you feel like people are acting crazy, if you feel like, you know, something ain't right in the water with certain people, it's not just you. Baby, it's not just you. You're not alone. It's not just you. You're not by yourself. Yes, the people of this world are acting crazy and you're not seeing things, okay? But I want to encourage all of you out there not to give up, not to give up on the course, not to fall short to lowering yourselves to their levels. Y'all hold on to the piece of goodness that you got. All right. Now, with that being said, let's get into what went viral. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. First of all, rest in peace to Suzanne Summers, right? Suzanne Summers, not only because everybody keeps saying the actress of Three's Company. I'm going to fix this background because this little part, anyways, don't worry about it. Suzanne Summers was not only the star of Three's Company. Okay, look at her, beautiful and gorgeous. That's 76. A day before she was 77, married to her husband for 46 years. But I want bring up the picture of her back in the day, okay, so y'all can see. Y'all got to see. That was Suzanne Summers back in today. All of that fineness and that goodness. And a lot of you young people will never know the original Chrissy of Three's Company. Y'all knew the old ones. The what was her name? Terry. But the interesting thing with Suzanne Summers, and I want to use her as an example of one not to give up on your dream, and also when life hands you lemonade to make when life hands you lemon, make lemonade, and if life hands you lemonade, honey, make a lemon meringue pie. Do all kinds of things with it because Suzanne Summers was one of the original cast members of a hit comedy sitcom called Three's Company. Suzanne Summers went to the producers, the powers that be, and said, "Look, I'm making this show. John Ritter ain't the only star on this show. I would like to be paid what John is being paid." Baby, they said no. They fired her and replaced her. Much like how they replaced Aunt Viv on Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Not that it had to do with money, but that's the same way they replaced Suzanne Summers. And young people will never know the goodness of a thigh master because see what Suzanne Summers did. Okay, she went on down to the people at the infomercials before all of these people were. That's her husband too. He's so nice, Mr. Hamill. Suzanne went and got her a thigh master. It was the most sexual perverted exercise equipment we done seen today. The only thing more sexually nasty than the thigh master was a shake weight. Google both of them. But anyways, Suzanne Summers died with an estimated net worth of $100 million due to that thigh master. Y'all remember that thigh master? Baby, that thigh master was so freaky to squeeze the thighs together with the little thing pointed in. Anyways, listen. She and also Suzanne Summers had cancer for 23 years. 23 years she lived with cancer and she was able to live an extended life. She talks about her diet and just being with nature and her holistic approach to medicine. But let me say this to y'all. Y'all, right, that second Chrissy could never hold a candle to the original one. And you young people will never understand it, okay? You will never understand what a thigh master was and what it meant to have a thigh master when you got off of work, okay? But the reality is here, listen, y'all, Suzanne Summers lived with cancer, huh? And lived a beautiful life. Some of y'all can't even handle a splinter in your hand for more than a second and survive. And some of y'all can't handle when a door closes that you stay stuck at that door. But Suzanne Summers is the example. Come on, somebody, of taking lemons and turning it into lemonade. She lived an extra 23 years. Okay. She went and took the no from one place and turned around to who said yes and became a millionaire 100 times over. If that don't preach, I don't know what does. Rest in peace to Suzanne Summers, a cultural icon and definitely a legend. She will definitely be missed. Also, while we are on the train of memoriams, rest in peace to Rudolph Isley, co-founder of the Isleys. Now let's talk about this, okay? Because I feel like this is sad. I think this is sad. I think it's sad. Some people think there's a conspiracy to this. Why? Rudolph died in the middle of litigations. He was suing his brother. Bring up the Isley brothers. I brought a picture of them back in the day when they was fine. Who they fine? Bring them up in the middle close. They look good. Look at that. Just metrosexual there. Anyways, which one's Rudolph? Is that the one on the left? So Rudolph, there won't be a quick end to a nasty lawsuit pitting members of the Isley brothers against each other over the trademark rights. Okay, put them to the side. Bring me back up, Kwame. So long story short, Rudolph Ronald, that's the one that's singing now, right? He went and wanted to trademark the name and said, hey, I own this. I'm working with it. I use it. So it's mine. Rudolph said, no, 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 no. No, you do not get to use that on your own. I founded the group also. I am co founder of this group and that trademark. You do not have the right to use it. So they went to court, right? Rudolph claims that since the 1986 death of their third brother, O'Kelly, he and Ronald have been the equal co owners of the group. So recently, the judge made a decision and ruled that Rudolph's allegations, if later proven true, would mean that he would continue to have rights to the name. Okay. So then Ronald, which I love Mr. Biggs. I love Mr. Biggs. God knows I do. Okay. So this next section, let's just talk about it. Ronald went down to the court and tried to have the whole entire case dismissed. Okay. Rudolph says he took a similar active role in the Isley brothers after he stopped performing. Okay. Later on, the judge said, I understand, Mr. Ron Isley, you want to have this case dismissed because you feel like it has no merit, but I, the judge, feel like it has merit. So this case has been in litigation and in court. I think it's sad because I think it's sad to see when families are at odds and they don't get a chance to come to some sort of happy medium, to make peace or come to some sort of resolution, right? Ronald is the only brother. Let's be clear. Rudolph helped him. Okay, so let's see here. I got to get to all of my notes. Judge Dorkin recounted many previous rulings on the unique circumstances of individual members' rights to a musical group's trademark. In one case, among the members of the Platters, a court ruled that the bandmates typically do not retain rights to use the group. Okay. Also, Rudolph took an active role in many songs like Shout and It's Your Thing. Can we park at the song Shout? Because I've been meaning to get this off my chest for a minute, and I'm just going to get it off now. Again, I love the Isley Brothers. Ain't nobody like them. Songs for days. But can I just read you the lyrics of Shout? And I'm just going, what I'm going to do is just leave them. Yeah. I'm just going to drop the lyrics and then I'm going to move on. Okay. I'm going to drop the lyrics, then I'm going to move forward. Okay. So he went to say, you know, you make me want to shout, kick my heels up and shout, throw my hands up and shout, throw my head back and shout. Don't forget to say it. Okay. Now let's drop down to verse 1. Okay. This is what they said in the song. I still remember when you used to be 9 years old. I was a fool for you from the bottom of my soul. Now that you've grown up enough to know you want to leave me, you want to let me go. I want to know who this 9-year-old is. I'm just dropping the lyrics and we're going to move on. Anyways, rest in peace to Rudolph. I hope they work this out, but from what it seems like, Mr. Ron Isley, I'm looking at you sideways just a little bit. Just a little bit. I ain't going to say it's a conspiracy, but let me shut up before people come after me. Anyways, let's move forward. Israel and the Hamas war. Okay, I know y'all nervous already before I even start to talking about it, but let's park right here. Let me have my peace in my moment. Because I realized last week let's keep this picture up here. As a matter of fact, put this picture in the middle and take me to the side because I want us to see this picture and I want us to keep this in mind. I want to give a huge shout out to Amanda Seals, actress, comedian, songwriter, and content creator. And she made like a clarion call out to content creators, to speak up, to say something. And I understood what she said. And even if you're not educated in everything, to say something. What I want to say is that I realized last week my commentary on everything that's going on in Israel and Palestine was just a little too lighthearted, right? I made jokes about people not knowing where Israel is and commentary because I just felt like a lot of people were taking sides and saying a lot of information on a subject that they weren't well versed in. What I will say is that here at the Daryl Walter Show, as I become educated in Israel and Palestine, as I become educated in this war, what I realize is that the commentary, the comments, and the opinions from the president on down, everything that we say about the war, we get to say it from the peace of our home. We get to say this from the comfort of where we live, whether we're doing great or whether we're new doing not so great. And so I want to keep in mind that there are many innocent lives that are being affected by this on each side. There are children, there are women, there are men, and there are people who are not connected to this who are being hurt from this. When I look at this picture, I think about all of the families who did not choose or do not want to be a part of this. And so my commentary is that I want us to just think about as we make these opinions, as we make this commentary, as we even talk about it, as we pray about it, as we talk about the history of it. Remember, we are talking about this from the comfort of our home. Whether we are rich or whether we are poor, we are still making these comments from a safe space. And so my prayers, my deep prayers are to the countries, to the families, to the people who are affected by this in the land and far from the land. And that is the commentary from the Daryl Walter Show, y'all. It's a serious time. And as much as we content creators want to make you laugh, want to talk about lighthearted things, and want to talk about what went viral, I would be remiss. We would be remiss if we ignore the elephant in the room. Okay. This is a serious time in America, and this is a serious time in Israel and Palestine. And so I honestly just send my prayers and my deep concern for all of those affected by it. Now, let's move on. Kwame, you okay? You all right, Kwame? You was nervous for a second. You thought I was going to say something crazy. Look, Kwame don't even want to talk about it. He just, let's move on. I think I did good. I really think I think we did good. Yes. Yes. Okay, Ernest Pugh and Charles. You know what? First of all, I just think Ernest Pugh is hilarious. I don't even think he realizes how hilarious he is. Let's just get into it. So, Ernest Pugh has just been in and out of the blogs. Charles Butler, well, let's be clear. This started, I do like to stress you out occasionally, keeps you on your toes. Ernest Pugh, he got on the line, okay? And he started talking about this choir member. It's a lot of stuff. Okay, can we play the video of Kim in the group chat talking about the choir? Do we have that video? Okay, there you go.
At least you are being recognized as a choir. I know a particular choir that, don't take this the wrong way, they've done choir fest and everything, and they got their first Stellar Award. The award was for an instrumental.
I would throw this.
So then apparently this was a sub dig at Charles Butler. If I'm getting it right, I am. If I'm not, Ernest Pugh is still hilarious. Look at Charles Butler. Don't he look like he likes cupcakes and don't bother nobody? So then Charles Butler responded and he said, do we have the picture of that, Kwame? A multi-stellar award nominee went on IG Live yesterday, mentioning how there was a choir who sang at a choir fest who won a Stellar Award for Instrumental Album of the Year. All those mezzo-soprano notes, multiple nominations paid for number ones, padded album sales, and still no win. I'm sure there has to be more singles from the album you're squatting on that can be released. Here I am barely leading a song, minding my business, and multiple endorsements, and boom, an award. When you sat back and saw the rain started to dry up is when you had time to share someone else's sunshine. That's Charles Butler talking about the one and only Ernest Pugh. Now, rain on that, honey. So then Ernest Pugh hopped up in the video, and this is what he had to say. Can we just play that video in its entirety as it gives me life?
Last thing I want to say is there's two gentlemen, I understand, who basically dedicated their pages to me. One did a live, and another one did a post. And the only thing I want to say to these two gentlemen is I want you guys to have the same energy and the same swag when you see me in person.
Tell them,
Because
girl.
it doesn't really take a lot of courage to sit behind a computer and to type the sentiments of your heart.
Mm-hmm.
But if we were in person, I'm fully persuaded that those conversations would go totally opposite of the way that they went. Because what you're not going to do is you're not going
What
to
you're
play in my
not gonna
face.
do, not in
You're not gonna play in
Ernest's
my face.
face.
That's what you're not going to
What
do.
you're not gonna
So
do.
come with that same swag and come with that same energy. And let's just see where it ends. Let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens. Because I stay ready. With a smile on my face, I promise you, I'm going to handle business. Now, I don't start nothing, but I definitely will end it. I definitely will finish it for you. The last thing I want to say is one of the gentlemen referred to me as a lyric soprano. So lyric soprano is not the same as a countertenor. So a countertenor is the one who sings up the high and the falsetto and things like that. So that would be me. But a lyric soprano is a female. I have the anatomy that of a male. So yeah, I'm not the one with breast. So that would not be me. Okay. So, you know, why I wanted to just give you that clarity, because I mean, I try to really stay away from anti-intelligence. You know, I try to really study before I go do a public post. And so, yeah, let that sink in, so that when you get ready to try to, you know, do reads, you can do them with a little bit of intelligence and a little insight and a little knowledge and revelation. Okay. But that's it. I ain't going to be petty. I'm not going to downplay it. That's all I want to say to everybody. Thanks again. And thank you to the two gentlemen who dedicated your page to me today.
Kwame, bring me up. Bring me up. Because this is how I wanted the video to end. This is how I wanted the video to end. I wanted him to be like, yeah, thank y'all. Now rain on that. And then leave. And scene, right? Just walk out. After he's done, now rain on that hoe. Ernest Pugh is probably the most. Before I go into my commentary, Kwame, bring up the picture of me and Ernest Pugh, because I'm going to tell this story. Because I love Ernest. God knows I do. Now, that was me. It's 2019. I'm going to be back that size with a little more muscle in about 4 more months. Anyways, I had met Ernest down there at the, what the thing called where the people come? The Stellar Awards. I went to the Stellar Awards. And I went to see him perform. And Ernest was just singing, you know, ain't that what he do? Rain on you. He can hit a high note. So I said, Ernest, I love the concert. He is amazing. And he said, have you bought my CD? I said, I have like 2 of them. He said, but did you get the deluxe one? I said, yeah. He was like, did you get the deluxe one? He's a hustler. He is a hustler. So I ended up buying the deluxe one. I said, well, if I'm going to buy the deluxe one, can I get a picture? Can I get something out of it in addition to this extra song that I'm buying the deluxe album for? But anyways, I think Ernest Pugh is talented, amazing. And as you can see, we both been eating. Now, I think there is love somewhere in Ernest's life. I don't know who or what it is, but somebody defeated Ernest. Now, take me off the screen. Let's get into Ernest. Ernest Pugh is always coming up in the blogs. Y'all remember when he claimed Dionne Warwick was dead? Then Dionne had to come on Twitter and read him for filth and gather him together. Then the people down at Keon Henderson's church, he had to sign non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that. Can't nobody confirm or deny, but I believe it was a lot of booty sweat and titties swashing around, allegedly, because he looked like he, you know, anyways, there was a lot going on. Now, fast forward to Charles Butler and to him getting on a sassy, classy read that you can rain on. I want Ernest, you know, he's a doctor also. He's an honorary doctor and he's a minister. I know Ernest will never come out. You know, he's got too much sold into the gospel and the Christian community, and it totally makes sense. He's fine too. Come on now. I think he's fine, but I think this is Daryl's opinion. I wouldn't get with him. Okay, he looks like he can fight, and he looks like he has a temper. Okay, he looks like he's really nice in public, allegedly, but behind closed doors, mm-mm. I haven't seen this before. I know how these churchmen rock. We don't know all of what's going on. And Ernest, so he came up and apologized for his cute, classy read and went back in the corner. It's only a matter of time. Somebody gonna bring him out of retired. He gonna have to read somebody else. But until then, we gonna keep waiting on a single. Okay, because I'm tired of rain on us and let your glory fill us. I'm sure you don't filled a lot of people. It's time for a new single, Mr. Pugh. Let's move on. Y'all calm down. I didn't say nothing too crazy, okay? Let's move on lastly to this pastor in Texas, Pastor Ralph West II. Bring up the picture of him, because let's see the picture first. Don't he look fine? Don't he look like he'll break your heart and preach a real good message afterwards? Probably fry a good, mean piece of chicken. Okay, y'all, listen. Make sure you follow me on TikTok and social media. I'm going to start talking about this church stuff again and telling stories. But this ninja is a mess. A mess. Let's just roll the clip. Lynette, hold yourself.
Spoke to says it was a 3-day trial with 6.5 hours of deliberations. And after that, a jury found Reverend Ralph D. West II liable and ordered that hefty judgment.
Right, it can't fix it. She's got it for the rest of your life.
Attorney Sean Murphy is speaking for his client, who a jury found contracted genital herpes from Reverend Ralph D. West II after meeting off Facebook. As seen here on the Church Without Walls website, he's listed as the Eldridge campus minister.
The things that we look at for cases like these are essentially 4 things. Is the defendant infected, and how can we prove it? Did he know he was infected? And how do we prove? Do we have evidence of that?
Not only does Murphy say they were able to prove those facts, but also that West lied when asked about having.
First of all, let's just start with the fact that the church is called a church without walls. The jokes write themselves. And take him off the screen. I can't take him looking at me like that. I feel like I want to go to the clinic, him looking at me like that, allegedly. Calm down, y'all. Ain't that a mess? Listen, this leads into, we're going to be talking about boundaries when we come back to commercial break. We're not going to commercial right now. This is what's happening in the church, okay? And this is what's been going on in the church. Y'all, we have to have a conversation. I have a friend who's watching. We've been meaning to talk about her experience, but so many preachers, so many ministers, so many people in the church, first of all, are living dual lives, spreading it low, laying it wide, without protection and without any recourse. People want to blame the gays for spreading diseases. Let's talk about the church. I know it's going to get quiet for a second, but listen, it's tight, but it's right. No pun intended. We are not talking about your sex life. Okay. This man lied. This man, I'm sure he slept with other women. And the reason he looks familiar is because some of y'all might want to look into your Rolodex history, okay? He doesn't seem like he has a respecter of person. And I'm sure there's a lot of different diverse groups of people involved in that. Kwame, calm down. I'm not going to go too far, allegedly. But this is the kind of mess that goes on in the church that people who are the victims end up getting hurt by, allegedly. I said that like, tell him I said allegedly. Tap down in the comments and let Kwame know I know what I'm doing. But here's the thing, in church especially, so many times it's the victims I get concerned about. It's that young woman who has to live the rest of his life with herpes. It's the many young men who are affected by these ministers. I want to know bring that comment back up. I want to know what they are first. Ladies thinking about this. Michaela, I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a good talk. It is a good talk. These ministers, these preachers, and for those of you who are preachers out there, for those of you who are in the church that know good preachers, I'm not talking to you. Okay, I'm not talking about that. No need to jump in and defend them. But what I am talking about is preachers and ministers, female and male. I'm not forgetting about the ladies who have the ability to coerce someone through their language. Have you ever noticed in church, you come in church saying, I'm not going to give anything, I'm not going to give a dime. By the end of the service, you in the $100 line, you giving whatever because they know what they're doing. Okay. And so a lot of these men know what to say, know what to do, know how to lure someone in. And listen, I'm not saying this lady is innocent by any stretch of the imagination. But we're gonna start talking about this church stuff again because this is getting ridiculous. And this man got to pay $2.45 million. You know he ain't got it. But more importantly, let's talk about our boundaries and how we set them and see them through. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna talk about that and so much more after we take this commercial break. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all when we get back.
In a world filled with diversity, where radical faith and progressive believers come together, there's a place that's breaking all boundaries and embracing believers from all walks of life. Bullet in Flight Radio, where believers unite, boundaries break, and love triumphs. Step away from the chaos and noise of your daily life. Experience moments for yourself that are calm, serene, and full of peace. A necessary respite to foster growth within you, because self-care should be luxurious. Luxe Noir.
Welcome back to the Daryl Walter Show. Let's continue. And before we continue, I just want to give a huge shout out to Bullet in Flight Radio and to all of my followers and listeners over there. Make sure you go over to Facebook. You can see the pictures and everything that we're talking about on the show. And also a big shout out to Pyro Media Network again. Y'all, let's get into it. Boundaries. I brought up boundaries because I've been practicing them. I've been using them. I've been creating them. And I've realized that as I've created boundaries, a lot of you know it out there. A lot of y'all ain't using your boundaries right. Y'all setting boundaries the wrong way, and it ain't helping you. And you keep wondering why every time you set a boundary and people walk all over it, or why you're struggling or why you're stressed about it. Today on the Daryl Walter Show, y'all, we are going to talk about boundaries. We're going to talk about how to create them, what to do when the boundaries have crossed, all of that good stuff, because I just feel like as I set boundaries, as I make changes in my life, I hope that it helps you all out there. I hope that you can resonate with it out there also. And maybe in addition to that, that maybe if you've been setting boundaries wrong, you can come back and reset them, right? Because at the end of the day, y'all, you are the most important person in the equation, right? I don't know about you. I am a people pleaser. Okay. So if you are a people pleaser, this is for you. If you are someone you set boundaries for everybody except that one or two people that you need to set boundaries with, this is for you. This is here to help you. This is here to motivate you and inspire you and help you become the best person that you can be, y'all. Listen, at the end of the day, a boundary, simply put, is a limit or an edge that defines you or separates you from others, okay? I'm going to tell you what boundaries are not. Boundaries are not the same as requests. Asking someone to change their behavior is not setting a boundary. Okay. What are you going to do if that person doesn't change the boundary, right? And so what I mean by there's a lot of people that I see out there setting their boundaries wrong. You wait until the offense happens or something happens that you don't like, and you say, just to let that's a boundary for me, that's a problem. And so now that person has to adjust to you because of your boundary. And so in that moment, it is no longer a boundary, but you are asking someone to change who you are to accommodate you. And what I'm here to tell you is that everybody just ain't going to do that. It just don't work that way in the world. Everybody is not going to accommodate you because of your boundaries, right? So also let's get into this. Don't get focused on trying to change someone, as I was saying. As we're stepping out of what we can control, you can't control how other people act. Sometimes you can ask them to acquiesce to you, but that's not always going to be the case, baby. And it's not an all or nothing. Boundaries are not all or nothing. If they don't follow my boundary, then I ain't going to be their friend no more. If they don't honor my boundary, then I just can't rock with them because I got boundaries. It doesn't work like that, okay? First of all, boundaries have to be set in advance. You have to know what works for you and what doesn't work with you, and also have consequences or plans of actions when your boundaries are crossed. What am I talking about? For example, I am not a drinker right now. I do not drink, but I have a lot of people who try to peer pressure me into drinking. It's the world that we live in, right? I have a firm no. But my boundary is if somebody pushes me too much, then I realize that is not the environment or the person for me to be around. So I know in the future, I may decline that invitation or I may choose not to hang around that person because for me, my boundaries will be crossed. Do you see the difference of how when you set your boundaries in advance, as opposed to at the minute, you are no longer controlling the other person, but now you are taking back that control for yourself. Look at your neighbor and say, I'm taking back control. You got to take back control of the situation and of your life. And a lot of times, as people pleasers, and there's somebody in your life that they walk all over you, and you keep getting upset every time they walk all over you. Set the boundary in place beforehand, okay? Be self-aware. Right. Be self-aware. Be aware of self. What am I saying? Be aware of what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Have good communication skills. Some of y'all out there have all these boundaries set up in your head, but you have not communicated them effectively to everybody else. And then you snap at the last minute because everybody crossed your boundaries. Well, baby, we don't know your boundaries unless you communicate that to us. And the only way you can communicate your boundaries if you yourself are aware of your boundaries. You got to become self-aware. We are not mind readers. Okay? And there is a difference in setting boundaries and just being me. There's a difference in setting boundaries and trying to control others, right? Because I see a lot of times when people are setting boundaries, you're trying to control the narrative of other people. Oh, I wrote this down. Oh, it's going to get good, baby. Accept and be clear and straightforward. Okay, don't sugarcoat it. Don't be around the bush. But let me say this also. I don't know how much I can cuss, but I got to say it this way. I tell my friends this all the time. You don't have to be a bitch to get your point across. Okay? Some of y'all think that saying no means that you got to be mean, that you got to be curt, and you got to be nasty. Okay? And that is not the case. When you set boundaries make you a nicer person. Setting your boundaries should make you a nicer person. When you set boundaries, it should make you a better person. You should be more at peace. Why? Because you're finding balance, okay? A lot of people, when they set boundaries and they become nasty and they become rude and they become angry, that's because they're controlling everything outside but themselves. Come on, you got to take back the control. This is about you. This is not about others. Boundaries are about you. Boundaries are not about that other person. It don't matter if they crossed your boundary. What matters is that you set the boundary and you stuck to it. Come on now. Accept any discomfort or uncomfortability that may arise as a result. Okay? I know half y'all scared to say no. I'm not even going to ask you to raise your hand or tap in the comments. I know half of y'all are scared to say no. And you're not even scared to say no because you're scared of this word no. You're scared of the reaction. You're scared you might let somebody down. You're scared that person's feelings may be hurt. You're scared that person may respond in a negative manner. You're scared if that person gets upset that they won't be there for you. You're scared if you say no that you won't have it. Oh, come on. You're scared if you say no that you won't have anybody else in your life. So you got to say yes. It doesn't work like that. Baby, accept the discomfort. Let them get upset. Let them be mad. Let them be uneasy. Let them hate you. Because baby, if they hated you on that first no, they never liked you in the first place. If they hated you the first time that you said no, they never liked you in the first place. Boundaries are about you and making yourself happy, baby. And there's a lot of people out there, you're not happy. You are upset with yourself. You are contrite. You are in a place where you can't figure out why you're not happy. You haven't set the boundaries. You can set the boundaries without cutting off your family. And y'all, I chose this subject because I will be honest with you, there are certain friendships that I had to let die. There are certain relationships that I had to accept that it wasn't the relationship that I thought that it was in my mind. And a lot of you out there have unhealthy boundaries. You have unhealthy relationships because if I let this relationship go, Daryl, what am I going to do? Daryl, if I let that person go, if I say no to them, then who else is going to love me? Who else is going to be there for me if I actually set that boundary? But I want you to know if you actually set the boundary, you will see so much more support. You will see so much more love because you make room and you open the door for all the goodness that you are deserved to receive. There is something about setting a boundary that speaks self-care, that says you love yourself. Okay? You love yourself enough to let go. Okay? It's okay to say no. And there are different ways to say no without an excuse, without an explanation. Honey, we always feel like we gotta, no. I know I can't. We always feel like we gotta say no and say it with a little extra umph to it. No, you don't have to do that. Hey, I'm not gonna be able to do that. I'm not available to do that. I'm sorry, I'm unable to do that at this time. I won't be able to make it. There are so many ways to say no. And you know what I want you to do? Practice saying no with a smile. No. See how that feels? But I guarantee you, and let me help some people without there. The discomfort of the no in the moment compares nothing to the peace of the yes for your future. The discomfort of the no in the moment compares nothing to the yes, of peace in your future. When you say no and there's discomfort right now, even if you feel uncomfortable in that moment, please know that it's a moment. And the fact that you said no opened up the yes. The fact that you said no over here opened up the yes over here. See, a lot of times, I'm just saying, Daryl, a lot of times we are scared to say no out of fear of letting go of that thing, out of fear that if that person won't love me anymore, they won't be there for me anymore. Or if I say no, then who else is going to be there for me? But do you know when you say no, When you exercise your no, I really believe it opens up the door to the yeses that you've been waiting and wanting for your life for a long time. God will always replace what's left. And so many people are scared to set the boundaries. So many people are scared to say no. But when you say no, when you set the boundary, it just opens up. Let me say this also. Ooh, this was a good one, y'all. This was a good one. A lot of us set boundaries out of defense instead of offense. Ooh, ooh, we. A lot of us set boundaries out of defense and not out of offense. Maybe I shook the table on that. What am I saying? We're setting the boundaries in defending ourselves. We're setting the boundaries as a way of protection, right? We're always operating in defense. So we're setting the boundaries to make sure that we don't get hurt. We're setting the boundaries to cover us from this and to protect us from whatever situations are going on because we don't want to be hurt. Or the last time I said yes to this person did me wrong. So I got to protect myself. We set boundaries out of defense, right? And I want us to take the time to switch from the defense. Come on, somebody. If you play basketball or if you play sports, you know that there is a difference between the defense and the offense, right? Because the defense, you are constantly blocking. And that's what a lot of you are doing in life. A lot of you are just constantly blocking that person, blocking that negativity, blocking that person that did you wrong, blocking this and blocking that. And you just block it. When you get into the offense, okay, the offensive goal is to get around the defense to make the goal, to get to the destination, to get to the final mark, right? To hit the home run or to make the basket. And a lot of you out there, including myself, have got to switch from operating in defense when setting the boundaries to operating in offense. What do I mean? You set the boundaries in advance and you set the boundaries with you in mind. You set the boundaries with the thought of the better self of you in mind. I almost want to say type amen, type yes if you feel me. Type it's about me in the comments if you feel me, y'all. It's about me. Because we want you to be your best self. Listen, say no with grace, say no with gratitude, say no with peace, say no with love in your heart. Saying no to a toxic pathology and yes to a better future. There is something about saying no with grace, saying no with peace, saying no with you in mind that takes you to a higher level and it opens doors to so many better things. It opens doors to the better things in your life. All right. I share this about boundaries again because I just realized we go in life setting boundaries all wrong. And we live in a protective mode and a defensive mode. And if I can just help one person out there to say, you don't have to live in the defense. You don't have to live in a space where you feel like people are trying to hurt you or trying to get you when you set these boundaries. Remember, the no is for you. The no is for the yes. I like that. The no is for the future yes. And if you can master the art of no now, if you can master the art of setting healthy boundaries, and let's just park right here because you can reset those healthy boundaries. That's another thing I learned at this juncture in my life. I had boundaries. I had strong boundaries that I set all the time. And I realized I had to reset them. I realized I had to add some new ones. I realized I had to renew some old ones that I had let go and I had kind of let get lax in certain areas. If you allow people to guilt trip you out of boundaries, right? That means that you have to work on your self-awareness. This is all about you. Right? When we talk about boundaries, when we talk about self-love and self-awareness, all of this work goes back to you. And my goal during this This message is for you to live your best life and become your best self, right? And when you do that, when you become self-aware, people can't guilt trip you. When you allow people to guilt trip you, you are giving them your power. And as I said before, it's time for you to take your power back, baby. It's time for you to live your best life. It's time to reset those boundaries so you can go higher. Hmm? You feel what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down, so you're not like these preachers spreading herpes all over the world. So you're not like these preachers tussling and fighting in the social media. Ain't had a single out since the early 1990s. I'm not talking about Ernest Pugh, even though it sounds like it. Ooh, listen, y'all. I want everybody out there to have the most amazing week and continue to live your best life. This week, practice resetting those boundaries. Practice saying no with a smile and grace. And most of all, if you have a dream, continue to see it through and make it happen. And if you have a vision, stay committed and see it through. Until then, be your best self. And I'll see y'all next week. All right. Kwame, let's go to the credits. I got to go. Peace.